Let's talk about non-restrictive versus restrictive relative clauses. Since these two properties exist for all modifiers, let's start by looking at adjectives to keep things simple for now. Consider the word clumsy in the sentences, "I held a clumsy puppy at the pet shop," and "My favorite puppy was the clumsy one." What happens when we remove the adjective? The first sentence still sounds alright. That means that while the modifier clumsy is descriptive, it's not essential to the meaning of the sentence. The second sentence, on the other hand, seems like it's missing something. "My favorite puppy was the one" technically is grammatically correct, but it fails to hold significant meaning without that adjective. This means that the modifier clumsy is essential to the sentence because it defines or specifies the noun that it modifies. This is the distinction between non-restrictive and restrictive modifiers. Let's see these properties as they apply to relative clauses, with a new pair of examples. "It's raining over the parking lot where I parked my car," and "I can't find the spot where I parked my car." Again, the same modifier is in both sentences, but it's non-restrictive in the first sentence and restrictive in the second. In the first, the relative clause provides additional information. In this case, it reinforces the irritation of the speaker, but the main clause is clear enough with or without the non-restrictive relative clause. In the second sentence, the relative clause explains which parking spot the speaker is talking about. Since there are many parking spots in that lot, the sentence needs the restrictive relative clause to provide specificity and clarity. There are two differences in the form of relative clauses, depending on whether they're restrictive or not. First, non-restrictive clauses are separated from the main clause with punctuation when written down and pauses when spoken aloud. The punctuation marks are usually commas, but dashes and parentheses are also options. For restrictive clauses, however, there should not be any pauses or punctuation to separate them from the main clause. The second difference is in the selection of relative linkers. All relative clauses can use who, which, where, when, or whose as linkers. Non-restrictive clauses are limited to these WH linkers, but restrictive clauses have two more options. The word that can represent a noun, and often replaces who or which. It's not a requirement, but it is probably the most commonly used linker for restrictive clauses. When the shared noun between the two clauses is an object in the relative clause, you can omit the linker altogether. If you see or hear that as a linker, or no linker at all, you can be sure the relative clause is restrictive. Let's take a look at how whether a clause is restrictive or not can affect the meaning of a sentence. Consider, Moonlight City is Jane's first novel, which she co-wrote with a friend. Here, the non-restrictive clause adds extra information to describe the novel, but the meanings of the two clauses are almost independent of one another. Without this relative clause, we still know that Moonlight City is the first novel that Jane ever published. But now consider the sentence with a restrictive clause instead. We'll remove the pause/comma in the middle and change the linker to that. Moonlight City is Jane's first novel that she co-wrote with her friend. This time, the relative clause specifies that this novel is the first among the ones that she's co-authored. It's possible in this case that Jane solo authored a few novels before Moonlight City, though without context we can't be sure either way. But we can be certain that among all the novels that Jane has co-written, Moonlight City is the first. Similarly, we can compare "This is my cat, which I've named Fresco," non-restrictive, and "This is my cat that I've named Fresco," restrictive. In the first sentence, we can infer that the speaker likely has only one cat. For the second sentence, we can assume that it's the only cat with the name Fresco, but we have no idea how many cats the speaker has in total. As you can see, it matters whether a modifier is restrictive or not. Remember that commas and pauses mean the relative clause is not essential to the meaning of the sentence, but the clause is essential if it uses that as a linker or has no linker at all.